It's been a week since Acheron's release and people are still going crazy over her. She's considered as one of the best DPS in the current meta, alongside Inhibitor Lene, Qingliu, and of course, Qingche or QQ. I know we've seen thousands of videos of players flexing their damage with her, and believe it or not, some even went all in just to get her to E6. Despite all the hype around her, there's still one burning question that remains unanswered. Is she actually good for beginners? Today we're gonna talk about that topic and we'll put ourselves inside the shoes of players who just started playing like a few months ago or even a few weeks ago. If you're that specific player I'm talking about, then this video is for you. Just a short disclaimer, this video isn't about convincing you to use your pulls or urging you to swipe your credit cards. It's about giving you my thoughts and opinions on what it's like to have Acheron, so that you'll know what to expect once you already have her. First of all, let's talk about Acheron real quick. Acheron is an lightning nihility DPS who uses debuffs coming from her team as points for her ultimate. This means that she'll be able to gain points once a debuff is applied to an enemy. Once she reaches 9 points, she can cast her ultimate. That's it. Now let's talk about the pros and cons of having Acheron. So far, she's the only unit in the game who can literally skip fights. She can do this by using her technique. This allows her to take down any mob coming at her way, as long as they have this red mark on top of their heads. I find it incredibly useful whenever I grind relics in the simulated universe. Aside from that, she's also one of the few characters who can ignore weakness types. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to record a demo of it, but if you're gonna read her talent, it says here that during ultimate, she can reduce enemies' toughness regardless of their weakness type by 16%. Also, I haven't maxed out her traces yet, so it's not yet at the highest percentage, or the highest value. So upon checking on Prydwen, the maximum value that we can get is 20%. I think the other character who can also do that is Shei, but we're not talking about her, so let's head to the next one. The last good thing that I would say about Acheron is she's a reliable DPS. What I mean by her being a reliable DPS is that she's consistent. As of this moment, she currently sits on the top with these legends. I'm not sure if saying she can outperform them is right. Maybe perhaps she can at E6. But that's another topic for another day. All I can say is her performance has been incredibly impressive so far. I'm confident that she'll remain a viable unit even after a few updates. However, that all depends on whether miHoYo would make changes to her kit or make future content that isn't good for her. So far, here are the pros that I can confidently attest to based on my experience with her. She's a reliable DPS who consistently delivers exceptional damage. Her tech is definitely invaluable because of how it can save time in the simulated universe. That's pretty much it. That's all the good things that I can say about her. Now let's try to discuss the bad ones. Now, on to the cons. We'll be discussing the challenges that I encountered after I pulled for her, as well as a potential problem that may arise in the near future. First off, Acheron is a high investment unit. Maximizing her damage isn't just about building her alone. It also entails constructing a team that synergizes effectively with her. If you're gonna stick with E0, that means you'll need an additional 2 nihility units to fully optimize her damage output. This is why some people, including myself, got her to E2. By doing so, she'll only need 1 additional nihility unit to maximize her damage. This opens up the possibility of adding another buffer or perhaps a sustain unit into your team composition. Another challenge that I experienced with her is the limited light cone options. When it comes to selecting a light cone for her, the options are also quite limited. If you're planning to pull for her signature light cone, then it's likely your best bet as it's actually tailored for her kit. However, if you want to save your pulls and get the F2P option, then Goodnight Sleepwell S5 is the best alternative that you can have. Unfortunately, I just realized that this light cone isn't easily available to new players, since the only way you can get it is through pulls. meaning you kind of have to pull a lot of times since it's kind of rare. Even I personally only have one S5 copy of Good Night Sleep Well, and I've been playing since day one, and it just shows how rare this thing is. On the bright side, you can now get Good Night Sleep Well on Acheron's Litecoin banner. It is guaranteed to get a 4-star Litecoin for every 10 pulls you do, but getting that specific Litecoin is still RNG, and you kind of have to be a bit lucky to get it. What I realized about this one, in case you still don't have any Good Night Sleep Well Litecoin and you're planning to get one and you're also planning to get it to S5, the amount of pulls that you're gonna do to get Good Night Sleep Well to S5 is almost similar to the amount of pulls that you're gonna need in case you're gonna pull for her Litecoin. However, if you're still keen on not pulling, then you're probably fine with Good Night Sleep Well S1 as long as you have it. Another F2P option is for Mata. It's actually the easiest one that you can get, since the only way to get it is to buy it from the Forgotten Halls shop. That sums up everything I wanted to discuss regarding her Litecoins. Again, it's all up to you if you wanted to get her signature Litecoin or not, or just stick with whatever you can get. That's actually all of the challenges that I have encountered, but I still want to discuss about another topic which could potentially become a problem in the future. It's actually about the DPS power creep trend that's happening in Honkai Star Rail. A few months ago, the strongest DPS were Selade, Qingyan, and Blade. However, due to changes in the game and influx of new DPS characters, they've somewhat fallen out of relevance. I personally experienced this because I used to be a Qingyan main, but even before Acheron's release, I found myself rarely using him due to the decline in his damage output. I've noticed a trend for DPS characters where they usually release new characters that tends to outshine or outperform the old ones. However, I believe MiHoYo is somehow addressing this issue by introducing new game modes, just like what they did with Pure Fiction. Pure Fiction was able to shed light on underrated DPS characters just like Herta, Himiko, and Argenti. This shows that they're still trying their best to diversify character usage. But I guess we all have to wait and see for the future content MiHoYo has in store for us. And that's pretty much it. If you're a beginner, then I would say Acheron is an S tier character. Pulling for her could be the right move for you, especially if you're struggling with the main missions. Also, if you want to one-shot enemies or skip fights, just be prepared to invest in her and also build her team right. It may be a huge investment at first, but it's definitely worth it. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like and hit the subscribe button for more videos like this, and I'll see you on the next one.